It's not every day you get invited on a field trip, but this isn't just any field trip. We're heading into one of the most mineral-rich corners of Britain, led by a literal rock star of geology. And no, I don't mean Mick Jagger. Here's the thing, to find uranium, you need to follow the minerals. To find the minerals, you've got to learn to read the rock. And Weardale, it's like nature's own treasure map, written in granite, galena, and ghostly hints of what lies beneath. Now, no one's turned up radioactive goodies here, yet, but the clues, they're hiding in these hills, and today, we're going digging for answers. 20 miles from Durham's spires, where centuries of knowledge echo in lecture halls, we're meeting at a different kind of monument, not carved by scholars, but by sweat, fire, and the relentless hunt for metal. This arch, it's the last sentinel of a smelting empire, a ghost of the lead industry that once breathed toxic fumes into these valleys. But today, it's our starting line. And here was our guide, Dr. Brian Young, a man who's literally written the books on Weardale's geology. And if he doesn't know it, chances are it's not worth knowing. We've met the Caledonian plutons, Criffel, Cheviot, but today, the Weardale granite takes centre stage. Part of the North Pennine batholith, 5 hidden giants lurking beneath 1,500 square kilometres of orefield. The puppet masters of every mineral wonder we're about to see. But here's the twist. No one's seen this pluton. Not directly. It works in the shadows, thousands of feet down. Until 1961, it was just a theory. Until the Rookhope borehole struck grey gold at 400 metres. And yes, Brian brought a piece of the actual core. Try not to geek out too hard.
Was getting deeper and deeper and getting towards the granite.
One rock, 5 plutons, a legacy that built an orefield. Oh, and those borehole samples? They did find uranium. Just saying. Freshly schooled in granite, batholiths and the deepest of boreholes, we were off again over the hills to West Rigg Open Cut. And honestly, I had no idea what awaited us. But when your guide is Dr. Brian Young, and he's personally penciled in a stop, you know it's going to be good. And wow, just wow, we stepped out of the cars and into what looked like a Marvel movie set. Some ancient battleground where giants had torn the earth apart. That monolithic slab of rock, the trenches deep enough to hide a dragon. This wasn't just geology, this was geologic theatre. But here's the twist. While we were hypnotised by that sheer wall of quartz, the vein itself, our mining forefathers, they barely glanced at it. No, they went straight for these ditches, because hidden in these flats, a fortune in iron ore, courtesy of the slit veins, mineral-rich fluid seeping into the limestone. The vein was the pipeline, but this was the paycheck. The limestone dissolved, replaced molecule by molecule, nature's own alchemy turning rock into revenue. Centuries later, the math still holds. A little lead in the vein or mountains of iron in the flats. Easy choice, even if it meant digging trenches big enough to swallow a house. But let's be clear, the real superstar here isn't just the iron, it's the slit vein itself. 13 miles long, a geologic titan that didn't just lie here, it built this landscape. See that bump, dip, water, ridge? Mines, dams, spoil heaps and vein outcrops. Even the farms are part of the story, parcels of land given to miners to keep food on the table when they all ran thin. This wasn't just industry, it was an entire ecosystem. And those dams, they weren't just for the sheep. This was hydraulic warfare. Miners would pack them full, then whoosh, release a torrent down the hillside. Water became a jackhammer, blasting through rock, scouring out waste. They called it hushing, nature's own demolition crew, with a little human encouragement. Think about that. No dynamite, no diesel, just gravity, water, and sheer ingenuity. The slit vein didn't just feed this valley, it taught its people how to reshape it. And then, just as we were leaving, an eagle-eyed spot. There, in the humble wall rock keeping sheep at bay, a piece of the slit vein itself. Centuries ago, this rock was part of a 13-mile giant. Now, it's doing its civil duty as a fence post. Talk about retirement goals. And before you ask, no, we didn't pocket it. Some treasures belong to the landscape. Even Gary the grasshopper dropped by to approve our fieldwork. Or maybe he just wanted a front row seat to Brian's stories. Hard to say. We could have stayed here forever, but the North Pennines has more wonders to spill. So, with one last look at this open-air museum of rock and resilience, the North Eastern Geological Society rolled back to Rookhope, gears already turning for the next stop. Geology rule number 1, take only photos, leave only Gary. But let's not forget our real mission. The slit vein, it's quartz. And where there's quartz, there's always a chance for uranium. The whys and hows? Well, that's a story for our next stop, along with a real piece of history. Dunham's journals call it the ghost in the granite. Just a few kilometres from Rookhope, time folds in on itself. Here lies Groverake, the last great fluorspar mine of the North Pennines. Stand here long enough and you might still hear the clang of picks, the shouts of men, the rumble of an industry that once ate the mountains. And now, the reveal. This map in Brian's hands, it isn't just paper and ink, it's a handing over of the staff. Picture this, Sir Kingsley Dunham, a wizard of British geology, looking to pass on his wisdom to the next generation. And Brian was there expertly translating decades of scribbled field notes, theories, and late-night epiphanies into this, interpreting and extending the lore of the rock. Remember the Rookhope borehole and the monumental coring project? That was Dunham's vision, the father of the North Pennine Orefield. And now, the science. Weardale's veins come in 3 flavours. Northeast to southwest lead belts, the 19th century's mining rock stars. North-northwest to south-southeast crossed veins, zinc-containing wildcards. East to west, quarter-point veins, giant mineral treasure chests. These quarter-point veins, they're side slippers, born from blocks grinding past each other, tearing open chasms where fluorite and quartz could throw a party. The result, veins that defy the usual rules, longer, deeper, and packed with minerals that made Groverake a 20th century powerhouse. Quarter-point veins are the rock stars of Weardale. But what's the big deal? Oh, just about everything. These quarter-point veins don't just crack open, they gaped wide. Like geologic buffet lines for hydrothermal fluids, and boy did Mother Nature serve up a feast. Lead, iron, that's old hat. These veins were the artisanal boutiques of mineralization, and in the 20th century, fluorite was the headliner. Thanks to Kingsley and Brian, we know not all veins are created equal. And Groverake, this is the grand central station of the Orefield, where the red, green clough and Groverake veins slammed together, trading metals like stockbrokers on caffeine. You want bismuthinite rainbows, garnet confetti, Fluorite so purple it would make Prince jealous. This is where the magic happened. Time's been kind to Groverake. The mine shaft still stands sentinel. The buildings cling to their stories, and the best part, it's all waiting for you. Just bring sturdy boots and a camera with an extra memory card. This is just a scar on the horizon? No, it's Fraser's Hush, Groverake's sister mine. Brian's map tells the tale. 2 mines, 1 mission. For decades, they shared a vein and fed the world's hunger for fluorspar, turning steel stronger, toothpaste, well, toothier, until the last elevator ground to a halt in 1999. As we drove to the final destination, we pondered, where's the radioactive hook? Well, its fingerprints are all over Groverake. First, those scalding hydrothermal fluids that built these veins share the same recipe that cook up uranium deposits. Second, green and purple fluorite. It's stuffed with rare earth elements, geological breadcrumbs leading to bigger prizes. Third and lastly, xenotime and monazite live here. Fancy names for a simple truth. They are uranium and thorium-containing minerals. The smoking gun just turned a little hotter. So, do you think we'll be back? Let's just say somebody's got to check out what clues may still be lurking. Maybe it's in these spoil heaps. Who knows? Leaving Groverake's fluorite glitter behind, we followed the real signposts of adventure, those black and white striped poles jutting from the hedgerows. Mrs. Uranium Hunter always says that where they lie, adventure follows. Welcome to Nenthead, the town that zinc built, where Quaker industrialists and Belgian mining barons once wrestled fortunes from these hills and left behind a geological treasure chest. But today, we're here for the real jackpot and a different kind of treasure. But first, critical refueling operations. And no, I didn't mean our lunch. Bert here was running on empty after a grueling day of celebrity meet and greets. Refueled? Good, because Nenthead's real treasures won't reveal themselves. Nenthead Mines isn't just a relic, it's a living museum. Old mills, offices, even underground tunnels that you can still explore. But not today. Today we're keeping it strictly surface level. Because sometimes the best treasures aren't in the mine, they're around it. And with the rocks around us, who needs a headlamp? Cue the next chapter of Brian's legendary map collection. Today's lesson, the underdogs of the Orefield, the crossveins. Usually the poor cousins of Pennine Geology, but here at Nenthead, they struck zinc. This wasn't just mining, this was empire building. They carved a whole town out of these hills to house workers chasing that galvanizing magic. The lead of the past had to take a sidestep. Sorry fluorite fans, there's no fluorite bling here. We're in the outer circle of the mineralization party. Mining isn't just in Nenthead, it is Nenthead. Even our car park was a former spoil heap. The river was a liquid timeline of industry, and those sealed adits just teases of what lies beneath. The locals didn't overthink names. Nenthead means what it says, the head of the Nenth Valley. Practical, just like their mining. We'd seen relics before, but this was alive. The air still tastes of iron, the rocks still sweat zinc, and every path a breadcrumb trail to the motherlode. Just as we're getting cozy with zinc, Brian hits us with Nenthead's real party trick, silver. Because where you find lead, there's always a sneaky chance of the shiny stuff hiding inside. Enter the Pattinson pan, the 19th century alchemist of Nenthead. This giant cauldron didn't just smelt, it sorted. Heat lead just right and voila, silver rises like cream. Call it metallic dairy farming. Where there's muck, there's brass, but where there's lead, there's miners outsmarting chemistry itself. Leaving the main complex, we couldn't resist a slightly unauthorized detour to Carr's mine, the Orefield's best preserved secret. Don't worry, we brought flowers. It was 28 degrees outside, but here, it was like the Antarctic. Either it's the adit breathing or the ghost of a Victorian miner judging our rock hammer technique. No invitations today, but the valley, it's spilling stories. Every rail tie, every tailing pile, even those loose rubbles whispering, come back when you've got a hard hat. Next time we're bringing 2 headlamps and a ghost meter. Leaving the mine's echoes behind, we followed Brian uphill. No pickaxes, no samples, just pure anticipation. That spring in his step was a sure sign he's saving something for us. Centuries of labour had tattooed this valley, but ahead, the rocks were waiting to tell their own story. To the untrained eye, just layered rock, but Brian's pole became a time machine, pointing to the exact moment our corner of the Pennines was underwater. See those wrinkles? Microbial mats, Earth's oldest cities. Those lumps, sponge reefs that predate trees. Sponges, shells, crinoids, corals, and even ancient brachiopods layered on top of each other like a Carboniferous birthday cake. It wasn't just a piece of limestone, it was a documentary. 300 million years of pressure turning tropical shallows into this storybook. We came for uranium clues, but this rewired our brains. Because before metals became mines, this was Weardale's first wealth. The miners chased shiny prizes, but Brian, he showed us the real gold was here all along. Time turned to stone. Just when we thought the show was over here, Brian had an encore. Behold, nature's Swiss cheese. And no, this isn't some fossilized dairy. This was like West Rigg's iron flats, frozen mid-meal. Meet Gossen, the posh term for what happens when iron throws a party in limestone. Those lacy holes, acidic fluids, RSVPing millions of years ago. Brian pointed out that this type of degraded rock was the first clue in looking for mineralization. Uranium hunters love clues, so thank you, Brian. Duly noted and case file updated. Limonite equals mineral starting pistol. Iron ate the limestone, but in those scars, that's where the real secrets hide. After time travelling through ancient seas and rusted iron feasts, we faced our final test, a proper Pennine scramble. Note to selves, next field trip, pack sturdier boots. But that's sound, not just wind. Something is alive out here. Of course, Brian saved the best for last, because this is where Geology sings. Not bad for an afternoon that started with a hedgehog and a car park. A waterfall, here, in this landscape of slag and sweat. Yet there it was, nature's perfect plot twist, roaring like it owned the place. And that little cave beside it? Deja vu in stereo. Brandygill's echo whispering, "You still hunting?" Nenthead's final lesson was even in the most scarred places the earth remembers how to dazzle. One last story from the maestro himself. Enter supergenes, where geology's leftovers throw the ultimate chemical rave. Crashing veins collide and mix their minerals with water, oxygen and carbon dioxide. This produces a wonderful range of rare and precious minerals. But the headliner? A mineral so rare they named it after the man himself. Enter Brian Youngite. Our final exam, a hands-on masterclass. The sun itself leaned in to spotlight the goods. Quartz winking, galena glinting, and zinc-bearing sphalerite whispering, "I built this town," in brassy undertones. A geologic buffet where I barely knew half the dishes. One of our lucky devils struck the mother lode with enchanting chalcopyrite. Proof that in Nenthead, even amateurs like us walk away feeling like prospectors. So where's our uranium? Turns out we've been flirting with the cool kids of the Orefield. This zinc zone's a bit too chilly for the U. That pluton's heat faded like a campfire at dawn around these parts. But that waterfall, that's classic Mother Nature. Oh, you came for minerals, I see. Hold my champagne. As we left the rocks and mines at Nenthead, sure to return of course, we couldn't help but be grateful. Grateful for Brian Young for giving up his time and passing on his enthusiasm and wisdom for the Orefields of the North Pennines. Grateful to the people who'd volunteered to keep the mines working so well preserved in Nenthead and Groverake. And grateful that we were there with a little knowledge to appreciate the land that gave generations purpose in its lead, zinc and iron. They say Romans may have scratched the first picks here, chasing silver through these same hills. Imagine that, toga-clad foremen, legionnaires swinging hammers instead of swords. Our radioactive verdict? Well, the real glow hides deeper. Maybe in the quarter veins' hot hearts where quartz and fluorite throw their private parties. Today we scratch the surface, but the hunt's far from over. If only we could clone Brian or have our own 24/7 Brian Young hotline. But for now, we'll follow the clues he taught us to read. The glow awaits. Stay tuned. Coming soon on the Uranium Hunter.